Weird, I can't mute Allison. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to give it a couple minutes for others to join. There's a couple popping in here and there. Welcome to the new members that just joined. I'm going to give it a few minutes to see if there's others coming in. Thank you.
May I just ask, because I'm monitoring the waiting room, who joined us from phone number ending in 0874? You can unmute yourself. Okay.
Christine, I just changed the setting to unmute, so could have been blocking it. There you go.
It's Allison. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you 0874?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Thank you. Allison Bankin.
Yeah, welcome, Mark.
Who joined that's listed as iPhone 4? There's still a few people joining.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Ingrid.
Yeah.
Good, how are you?
Okay, Sharon, I think we can get started at the 5, you know, we have a nice group here.
Sounds good. Thank you all for joining my Meet the Candidate Zoom. If you do not know me, I am Sharyn Sawzak. I am running as an independent for the Franklin Township Committee election November 8th. I moved to Franklin Township about a little over 9 years ago with my husband. We both grew up in New Jersey, but lived more on the East Coast and decided that we wanted a little bit more land and a nicer house for the money that we would spend on the East Side, and really kind of just kept coming out further until we found our perfect home here in Franklin Township. We currently live in Franklin. We have about 3¼ acres and we love it. We have room for our dogs to run around. I am a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse for well over 20 years. I currently work for New Jersey Sharing Network, which is the nonprofit organization that is responsible for facilitating organ and tissue donation for the northernmost counties in the state. I've been there for over 16 years. I'm the vice president of clinical operations. I'm responsible for 46% of the organization. I oversee our lab and make life and death decisions every day about people waiting transplant. And with that responsibility, obviously budgeting, strategic planning, things like that, hiring, firing, running the day-to-day operations of the organization, and really putting out fires on a regular basis is what my day looks like. That's the experience that I have other than my nursing background. I think this background in this organization and my time in management has really helped me to be able to make good decisions, do research and make decisions that are the best for the people involved with the information I have at the time, and always remembering to just do the right thing. And that's what I live and breathe by every day. And that's kind of what I bring to the table in this position. My husband works in healthcare IT. So we both kind of had that healthcare background. He was a teacher in his past life and kind of self-taught IT websites and things like that. And that's really what he does full time. My mom is currently living with us temporarily while she finds a new home. And we have 2 German Shepherds. One turned 1 today and the other one turned 2 last month. So on the puppy side. So that's me. I also have a charcuterie board business on the side because I just need to keep myself busy all the time. And that's who I am, my background. Why did I decide to run for Franklin Town Committee? Like many people, getting involved in February when the cannabis situation really kind of blew up and word got out there and everyone in town realized that it was now or never to jump in and get involved. We got involved and I started to go to as many meetings as I possibly could. I've been to pretty much every town committee meeting since then, maybe missed 1 or 2. I've started to attend since then the land use board meetings, the environmental commission meetings, as many as I possibly can be on. And I just felt that it was important to stay involved. Started working with a group of people that were getting together to figure out ways to try to give suggestions to the town committee about ways that we can bring in money other than cannabis or other than any factories. And it was really interesting for me getting involved with this group. Met some amazing people who are so knowledgeable about this town that have lived here for a very long time. Also have some amazing careers. Mine sounds kind of boring in comparison. They know so much about the environment and farming and stuff that I really don't have as much knowledge about, but it's just amazing the brilliant minds that can come together and really come up with some great ideas when you put the effort there. And really was impressed with this group and the presentations that they gave at the town committee meeting at the school when the ordinance was actually tabled. I was just blown away by what they put together. And in a very interesting way, met a couple of them in person at the Pittstown Inn, and wound up just having conversations about everything that was going on and how we could all get involved. And it just kind of came up that I really didn't think I had the time to put into all of the investigation that they were doing and digging into ordinances and things like that. I just didn't think I had time for that, but I was like, well, I can run. And I think they were shocked. I think I probably shocked myself as well. I definitely am not a politician, have had no desire to be a politician, really for a long time didn't pay that much attention to politics, but I really feel that in a small town, this is kind of the basis of our government in the country. This is as simple as it gets. And I don't really feel that it should be heavily political party weighed. I think that the people that we vote for in our town to represent us should do just that, represent the people that live here, the people that pay taxes to live here, and hear what they have to say and keep them informed. And it's really that simple for me. And I figured, well, I'm pretty comfortable talking to people from my job, and I'm comfortable to hear things and try to make decisions for the interest at the time with that decision, and really just, as I said, doing the right thing. So for me, it was easier to go this route than spend countless hours on the computer researching things, which some other members of the group are amazing at, and I knew I wouldn't be great at that. So I figured, why not? Let's do it. So that's why I decided to run. For those that were able to attend the Meet the Candidate night, well, I don't know, that was a couple weeks ago already. I did talk about some of the things that, I have seen, and it's not just about cannabis. It's not just, I don't agree with cannabis factories, but I also just don't agree with factories, period, in our town. I don't think we have the infrastructure for that. And I don't think that's what most of us moved here for, those that grew up here. I don't really think that's what we want. I know that's not what I want coming out here. And I don't want to see Franklin lose what we all fell in love with. So for me, that's really important, but I think there's so many inconsistencies. There are so many things we can improve upon, different things with land use board, with the town committee, environmental commission. If you attend these meetings, it's kind of comical at times. There's not really an agenda. We don't stay to an agenda. Their minutes haven't been written for, I don't know, almost the entire year. Just things that just, to me, from coming from a business perspective, just don't make any sense. We can't seem to have a in-person meeting and a Zoom meeting for those that can't attend, yet we want better attendance. Or do we really want better attendance? I'm not really sure. But there's just such, to me, it's in our industry, we call it low-hanging fruit. There's some very simple things that we can change. But what's most important is that we are communicating with the people in the town, letting them know what's on the agenda, letting them have the ability to be kept in the loop and speak their mind, and that decisions are being made based on what the people in the town want, not what 5 people on a committee feel is the right thing to do. I could just go on and ramble. However, I do want the opportunity to answer the questions that you have. If there's anything specific that you want to know, I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability. You can either unmute yourself, put a little note in the chat box, or raise your hand and we will call on you to ask your questions.
So since there are no questions in the chat, can you let us know a little bit more about the ballot and what is on the ballot, how many spots are available?
Absolutely, that's a good question. So there are 2 positions that need to be filled for this election. There are 4 candidates on the ballot. There are 2 Republicans, there's 1 Democrat, and I'm the independent, but it's not called independent on the ballot. It's called nomination by petition. So did you want me to give the names of the others running, or do we want to just keep it to about me? It's up to you.
I mean, I'm comfortable with that. I think I know who I'm going to vote for. Thank
Okay.
you. I
Bruce?
see a question from Bruce Doritas.
Yes, Sharyn, we appreciate you scheduling this Zoom meeting and taking the time to do so. I have a question concerning the past Township Committee, I guess, relationship with the Franklin Township Board of Education. And it currently, the mayor's position is a hands-off type of position regarding the budget and any budgetary items from the Board of Education. And my thoughts is that we need a better relationship with our Board of Education. And, you know, especially when it comes to budgets. What would, you know, your viewpoint and position be in that regard?
That's a great question. I have heard the mayor say that we have zero control over their budget, and also say that he has no interest in trying to have a relationship with the school board, and just, it's very easy to just throw his hands up and say there's nothing we can do. And I don't really agree with that. You know, I have heard that it can be challenging and that we don't maybe have a say for their budget. However, why would we not attempt to build a relationship with the school board and share information that's important for them to know and for us to know about what they're working on, so that we can look at the budgets together? How do you know that there's not a possibility to have some input when you don't even try? That is not my MO. So I can tell you that I have had some of my friends sometimes will hear when I'm on call for work. And recently it happened the other day. I was on I have two phones. I had one phone for work and one personal, and I was on my personal phone and a call came in for work really quickly that I just wanted to quickly answer a question, but I didn't mute my phone, and there was no patient information disclosed. However, some of the staff called to ask me about a kidney that was supposedly had some damage to it, and the transplant center didn't want to take it. And they wanted the permission to open the kidney and take more pictures to try to get a transplant center to take it. And I said, of course, do whatever you have to do to get the organ transplanted. I do not come from a place of, no, don't want to do that. I know our policy says once it's packaged, we don't reopen it. That's not how I operate on a regular basis. I'm going to go through every hoop that we can to get an organ transplanted until I have no other ideas left. And I've tried everything that we can possibly think of and that the team can think of. So I approach it in the same way. I don't come from a place of no. I'm not going to say that, well, historically, the town has not had a relationship with the school board, so therefore we're not going to try. No, we're going to try. We're going to make friends with people on the school board, and we're going to try. That would be my approach to it. I do know somebody that's running for the school board that I had the pleasure of meeting. I'm excited that, you know, I believe she'll be elected. I don't think it's really uncontested, but
people on the call.
excited to know that there's an opportunity to start to build that relationship. If we're paying taxes toward the school board budget and then the rest of the budget for the town, I think that the people in the town rely on us to make sure that we have that relationship there. I think to just say that it can't happen is wrong. Hope that answers your question, Bruce. I do see a question in the chat, my understanding of the master plan. So I'll answer that next, and then I see Ingrid has her hand up. So my understanding of the master plan is, as far as cannabis is concerned, is that there's language in there that needs to be reverted back to prior to the cannabis ordinance. I know that we've been told that it's not going to be changed, but I don't know that we can just sit back and say that that's the answer. It's opening up a window for us to just have another ordinance come down the road. And why are we going to continue this battle that we've already all made very clear that we don't want as a town? And I am speaking for the residents of the town, because I've been on the meetings where 240 something people have said they don't want this. So I think that's a good sampling of what the people in the town want. We have to get the master plan language changed. It wasn't clear, the language between the ordinance and the master plan, it didn't fully match up, and the language wasn't exactly the same. I don't know whether that was an intentional, done intentionally to write it that way, so there was a loophole, or if there was just complete oversight. I wouldn't be surprised about the oversight. Not only does the town committee not communicate well with the school board, they also don't communicate well with the land use board or the environmental commission. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if the language was just an oversight. And I also wouldn't necessarily be surprised if it was left in or worded that way as a loophole. I do think that we need to pull it back because we leave ourselves open for additional ordinances. What? Frank, I hope that answers your question about the master plan. I don't know if it was cannabis directed or if it was about something else.
Yes, that answered the question. Thank you, Sharyn.
You're welcome.
Hi, Sharyn, it's Ingrid.
Hi, Ingrid.
How are you? I've been in all the same meetings also that you have, where they say we have absolutely no control over the budget, of the school board. Where did that come from? Where in the master plan or where in any of the bylaws does it say that we have to give 80% of our taxes or whatever it is, some massive number of our taxes to the school board? How did that come to be? And why is it accepted as such, as a dictum? You know what I'm saying? It's like the law. Well, who came up with that? When was that number established? And if, for example, they brought up the fact that the health insurance of all the employees and the teachers is going to come up, which is going to pose another whatever, some crazy amount of money for health insurance now. Do we automatically have to accept that it's going to go up? Because then obviously the percentage of the educational piece of the pie is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and how can we have no control over that? Like, any idea where that all came from and why the mayor says hands off, I can't change it?
Yeah, I know a little bit. I do know that there is a law for the state about an allowable increase year after year. I think it's a 2%, but I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's a 2% increase that they're allowed to increase by 2% every year. So historically, how we got as high as we are now, I don't think that came from just a 2% increase. So I can't really tell you where it started, but there is a law that allows them to go for an increase every year. But my bigger concern is something came to our attention that there's a state mandate that the schools have to change over to electric heat by a certain point in time.
2035.
Yeah, yet we just spent, I don't even know how much money of the budget for this oil tank. So if we knew this was coming down the road, why would we have spent money to change out an oil tank if we have to convert to electric anyway? So like, my thought is, if we were working together, the town committee and the school board, and this proposal for this oil tank change came up, why wouldn't we be able to say, hey, there's this thing coming down the pike, maybe we should look at it differently? More brains together sometimes is helpful. Instead, they just went and did this. Maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know, I don't know. But if the same people aren't going to the town meetings that are also going to the school board and are involved on both, then from the board level, I think that there needs to be the communication to make sure that the money is being spent wisely. I don't know that, I think it is true that we don't have a true say on their budget. And I don't know whether that's a law or just a historical thing, but why can we not try to work towards working on these budgets together and making sure that the money is being spent wisely? There's a very large amount of money per student spent at Franklin Township School. And I'd like to see what that breakdown is and understand that better before I can speak to it. It just seems awfully high for me, but I also don't have a Board of Ed background to know if that's normal or not normal. I want to say it was like $32,000 or $33,000 a student.
Right.
Seems
But
high.
I'm still wondering where that original number came of X% of the township funds has to go to the Board of Ed.
I don't think it's that, Ingrid. Actually, I think it's just that it turns out that the amount of their budget turns out to be 80% of our full taxes. But there is a cap of 2% that they, hold on, I have a note here. Janice, thank you so much. It's a 2% cap, but there are items outside of the cap. So I really, it's hard for me to answer. I've not seen the budget, the school board budget. I would have to really look into that. But again, it goes back to just having a conversation and really trying to work together to make sure that everything that's in the budget is what should be in the budget. And, you know, I actually have been pushing my husband to run for the school board, but he hasn't, but he did go to a meeting and really there was no one there. So that's also concerning now that we finally have some traction in getting people to some of the other meetings. I do think that we need to have people at the school board meetings as well consistently. And I think if we're working together, committee to board, that's the right thing to do for the citizens as well.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon.
You're welcome. Thank you. So,
Any other questions? Go
I
ahead,
did
Lucy.
get a correct, Christine, I did get one directed to just me, so I'll read the question and I'll answer. Surprised, disappointed, the township committee minutes are not prepared, available to the residents. Is this legal? How would you correct this with the rest of the committee members to make them available after each meeting? So one of the things that I feel strongly about is our town committees not using our current technology or current technology at all. It's extremely old school. The meeting minutes are not always prepped in a timely fashion. There sometimes a delay, and I think actually the town committee meetings minutes come out much quicker than the land use board and the environmental commission meeting minutes. Those are just non-existent right now. I do think there are rules around that. I can't recite them to you, but I believe there are rules about getting those minutes out. For me, timeliness is very important about getting out the minutes, and the agenda should be accurate. And we found inconsistency in the agendas as well. There's really no reason that an agenda shouldn't be posted ahead of time. It be a clear agenda, and that's the agenda that's used at the meeting. There is a way to have a Zoom and in-person meeting. I was away last week for business, and we had a handful of people in the room and the rest were on a Zoom call, and we had a fantastic meeting for an entire day. There's no reason that we can't do that. The meeting can be recorded. I'm recording this meeting and plan to post this out on Facebook so that those that were not able to make the meeting tonight can hear all the questions and answers. The technology is there. It is not complicated. We've asked multiple times for that to happen, and we're told that they just can't do it. So for me, being on the group, I don't know how much say I will have if I get in there, but it would be something that I would push for. It's not complicated. It's very simple to do. And if the recordings can be posted immediately after the meeting, it does take a couple minutes for it to convert, then that's there for the public to see same day. I mean, it's really not a good reason to say no, that can't be done. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Sharon. I see a question from Bruce Doritas.
You're unmuted.
Sharyn, currently our municipal building is not ADA compliant, as most people are aware. And I've talked to various senior residents in Franklin Township that really want to attend meetings, but are unable to make the steps, or, you know, for whatever reason, maybe for inclement weather. Yet, I know our Franklin Township School is ADA compliant, and they do have a large all-purpose room, which we conducted one of our meetings in, Township Committee meetings. Would you endorse using the school all-purpose room, which is ADA compliant, until we get a new municipal building which is compliant.
Yes,
What are your thoughts on it?
absolutely. I don't see why we shouldn't try to continue to hold the meetings there with that in mind. I'm a little worried about going up the steps of the current municipal building. They're a little rickety and they're not the best. So 100%, I don't see why we couldn't do that. I think, honestly, there's just not the want in the current committee to even ask the question. And it's really not that complicated. Again, if you have a good relationship with the school board, I don't think it would be as complicated as things are now. Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't hold it there. And I still think even if we do hold it at the school, we could still Zoom. There's no reason, you may not be able to make it there physically, but you can if I'm driving home from work, I can jump on a Zoom meeting and take a Zoom meeting on the phone and hear everything that's being said without physically getting there. But you're cutting off avenues that are really exist and they're not complicated and they don't really cost anything to not have all the residents. They say that they're happy that all the residents are starting to attend. I don't know if I believe that, to be honest with you, but more could attend and more can be involved if we give other avenues. So I don't see why we wouldn't offer the school the new, I'm going to answer a question that I've been asked on another route, but to answer the question about the new municipal building, it has to be ADA compliant. I don't even know why they would spend time or money to not go down that route. It's, first of all, I would believe a requirement. So I know that question had been asked as well. And then there was also someone brought up directly, Christina, on the chat to me about that they wanted to spend a ton of money wiring the new building so that they could have like Zoom meetings. You don't need wiring. I'm sitting in my dining room right now. I was in a hotel that didn't have wiring this week for like AV equipment.
I'm
It was
wireless as well.
Yeah,
No wires. No
it's
wires.
not necessary to spend money on that. And I don't know where their advisement is coming from. But it's just, you don't need to hardwire a building in today's day and age to be able to do a Zoom meeting and have a Zoom / in-person meeting.
So then my question is, if the Board of Ed in 2022, early part of 22, has been conducting both in-person and Zoom meetings at the school, would we be able to do the same?
So you're saying the Board of Ed
That's-
is doing a combo meeting, Zoom and in person?
That's my understanding. It was in the spring when I heard that it was a hybrid type of meeting.
I don't know if it's.
Yeah, I don't see why it can't be hybrid. As I said, I just attended a hybrid meeting last week in Richmond, Virginia, and there were no issues. It was a great meeting. There's no reason that we can't do that. So again, I think it's just a matter of asking. But when you don't have a relationship with the school board because you don't want to try, I don't have an answer why it is that way, but that would be something that I would absolutely work toward because it's really a simple fix. Allie, you have your hand up?
Yeah, wasn't one of the meetings that we did at the school, didn't they have Zoom participation? I
I
thought
recall
that,
2 town committee meetings at the school, but I don't know that there was a Zoom option for either.
they never did a hybrid. I know we did fully Zoom and we did the in-person. For some reason, I thought that the clerk was taking some participation from Zoom as well. I could be wrong. But either way, to your point of what you're saying, it's very easy to set up I mean, it's like there's no excuse to not offer a hybrid. It really is. It's crazy for them to try to like say they need to be wired and that they don't have the technology and it costs money. I mean, we all know that that's complete nonsense.
I think they're just excuses. And to be honest with you, some laziness involved there to not put the effort in.
And I think we've requested too, like some recordings of the meetings. And I think what they offer in response is a CD that they will burn for us, which
Right.
to be honest with you, I don't know that I have anything in my house anymore that would play it.
Yep, my current computers don't take a CD drive. So it's just super antiquated. There's so many other options out there. I'm going to post this Zoom meeting. Well, I'm not because I don't have access to the Facebook pages, but I will have it recorded after we're done and it will be posted. It takes a few minutes for it to convert and then you just post it. It's not complicated. So I agree. I did get a direct question. How do I feel about township residents, or how do I feel township residents should be informed about township affairs, meetings, announcements, events, et cetera? You know, there are so many different avenues of communication that we have available to us. I would like to know how most people want to be communicated with. There can be email. I think there should be more things posted on the website. We could do a Facebook page. There's so many different ways. We talked about the newsletter at one of the meetings recently, and the reason, or one of the excuses about the newsletter is the mayor didn't want to bother with writing whatever his section was going to be because it was too outdated by the time it got published. I mean, this is just stuff that I just don't understand. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but I struggle to find one cohesive place where all of the announcements are. So that is something that is, to me, and again, an easy fix. I think I had to go on the Quakertown Fire Company Facebook page to find the post about the Oktoberfest. Why wouldn't that be promoted on the township website? There should be a complete calendar of announcements or events, and anybody can submit events and it goes on a calendar on the website. It's, again, not complicated to do stuff like that. I am meeting with the senior group next week, so I'm really excited to ask them what lines of communication would they be most comfortable with. I know that not all seniors in the community have internet access, have cell phones, things like that. So I really kind of want to get a feel for what everybody would like to see. But I think we can have communication in so many ways. That's the nice thing about technology these days. So it doesn't have to be just one way, but however kind of the majority of people feel communication is good, I think we can kind of spread it out across multiple channels and really get the information out. Oh, so someone also messaged that there was one hybrid, I guess, where it was in person at the school and the Zoom, but they're refusing to do anymore.
But we know it's possible.
It is
It's not
possible.
a-
It's
It's not a
absolutely
violation of Oprah at all. Not posting minutes is. Okay, thank
Any other questions?
Yes, I have one. Again,
Yes, Bruce?
we have not seen a newsletter in quite some time in Franklin Township. And many people rely on getting township news via newsletter, and they haven't signed up for eBlast. eBlast thus far has helped with, the meeting announcements for Land Use Board, Environmental Commission, and Township Committee. But the newsletter was, in a more broad sense, let us know what's happening in the township and gave us quite a bit of information, which I don't think the website, takes into account. Would you subscribe to, or would you try to get our committee to start, to restart the newsletter, via their mail list?
Yeah, I would love to be able to get a poll together. I don't know exactly how to go about it, but I'm sure we can figure out a way for all of the residents and really find out what is their best, their favorite way of communication or preferred way of communication. I've never received a newsletter, and I've lived here for 9 years. And the answer that I received when I asked about it, it's because we have so many different zip codes within Franklin, and it's complicated. And if I have a Flemington zip code, which I do, that's probably why I never got the newsletter. I don't really think that that's a good answer. I'm a resident of Franklin. I pay my taxes to Franklin, and I have zero idea what's going on, and I don't get the newsletter, but other people in the town get the newsletter. I just don't think that makes sense. There was a lot of excuses of the cost, and there's definitely some surrounding towns that have beautiful newsletter. I mean, they're huge, actually. There's a lot going on in those towns, and it's doable. So I think there's no reason to not have it. But I would love to do a poll or a survey somehow to find out what is kind of the most common routes that people are looking for communication. So we can provide that.
Great. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome. Christina?
Sharon, I actually had a question. This is a question that I like genuinely have that I still haven't gotten an answer to. I'm actually curious, are the seniors meeting somewhere in Franklin Township? Do we actually have like a venue where people can meet? And what are we using for, spaces where, as taxpayers, we can convene and do things as a community? And also, what have you learned about the timeline for the new municipal building and, all of that? Just wondering if I've been a little bit busy. Thanks.
So the seniors do meet. They meet at the firehouse, Quakertown Firehouse. I'm attending their meeting next Wednesday. I believe it's the 19th, and it's at 1 o'clock. They actually have a decent turnout, like 25 to 30 people, which I thought was pretty impressive. And I guess they have different agendas. I believe next week, I don't know his first name, Mr. Brown, who's running for sheriff, is going to be there to present to the seniors about scams. And then there's, I want to say it's flower arranging. Somebody from the flower shop in Flemington is coming about flower arranging, and then myself. So I think that's awesome. I'm actually taking my mom with me so that she can meet some seniors in town. So there is a meeting, but I didn't know that there was even a senior meeting. So I don't know where that's published.
I think they did have a hiatus. I'm glad to see that they found a space.
Oh, good. Okay.
But that is not I don't think that's technically municipal property, but that's great that they're able to gather. Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a timeline, a better feel for the timeline on the new building. Where I'm going to say my guess is it's at least a year away. I've been working on a renovation project at one of my at our recovery suite at my office offsite, and it was supposed to happen almost 2 years ago, and I may be super close to getting it done in the next couple of weeks. We had so many supply chain issues that it's been a challenge, and it's a small reconstruction of this one room. It's not an entire building. They're not even, from what I gather at the last conversation we had about it at the town meeting, they're not even settled on the budget, and they're well above budget, although they couldn't give us numbers. So I don't think that they're that close to starting. So I would say minimum a year is just my best guess once they actually decide on the budget and get started. It takes a lot to get all the trades together. And with all of the supplies, it's been really, really challenging. So I just think this is a long way off. So we can't just keep worrying about when that building is here and we're going to do all these things when the building comes. I think we need to start making some changes now, because that could be a long time. Did I answer all parts of your question, Christine? I feel like I left something out.
I didn't ask it, but I was thinking it. Have we ever seen like a blueprint or plan? Has that been released?
No, they offered to take us on tours and show us that, but I've not heard that come back up again as an option. I at least I haven't. I don't know if anybody else from that has been attending regularly has any more information about that.
So we're not sure yet if we're going to get our multi-purpose room. It's not looking good.
Yeah, I can't say that I've seen it on a plan. I know they said that we would, but I haven't seen it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I also have another direct message, my thoughts on having a variety of community days activities throughout the year so we can get to know fellow residents. I 1000% agree. I'm not sure how many people are aware that we were invited to participate in the Hunterdon Games. I think it was about 8 townships within Hunterdon County. And the town committee didn't really promote it, didn't attend, didn't care to attend. And I thought that was pretty sad. Christina, who's been helping me co-host with this meeting, she took over the lead on that, and we were able to actually
I was voluntold, but I was delighted. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, it was great. And we actually were able to pull a team together in a very short period of time. And I was able to meet so many residents and now make friends. And it's amazing what one event, just going to one event and how many people you can meet and new friendships that come out of that. But how would we all know if it's not advertised and the person responsible on the town committee for the recreational type of events doesn't want to do anything to promote it? That's concerning. That's not, I really feel like the people that live in Franklin really want the sense of community. This event was so awesome. We came in 5 out of 6. So we didn't come in last place, which is pretty good when we didn't even know we were going to have a team that morning. We didn't know for sure that we were going to have enough people. But that's what it's all about. And I think that we have to promote that, and we have to have these events publicized and really try to get, people involved and get to know each other. My husband and I don't have children in the school. So if it wasn't for the fact that he somehow got wrangled into being a rec basketball coach for Franklin Township, we probably wouldn't know many people other than our neighbors on our street. But we got to know a lot of people through that, and we love it. I mean, we've made so many friends just from these different events. So I think it's really important as a community for us to work together, and the neighboring communities. I mean, for anybody that was there, it was really an amazing event. And I can only imagine it's going to get better every year, but I think that is absolutely something that we should be working on as a committee, and putting these opportunities out there for everybody to know about, and try to really get everybody involved. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Sharon,
Hi, Bruce.
it's me again.
Hi again.
As one of the leads in the edit group, we're trying to brainstorm getting many of our resident craftsmen, craftspersons, and farmers and growers, or vegetable growers, involved in the edit movement. Now, we do not have a farmers market per se. Many of our residents go to other townships for farming, for their farmers market. They go to Flemington. They may go to Clinton.
Clinton has a beautiful one.
How would you go about proposing, a farmers market for Franklin in order to generate, some activity?
Sorry, I'm just replying to a direct message. So I agree. I think that we have to look at what we have in our town and focus on that. I can think of, I know we were talking about ratables and cannabis and all of that, but up at the ShopRite, which is one of our commercial zones, right off of the highway, we should be able to have a farmer's market there all the time. People that live in the city are so into coming out to the rural towns for a fun day in the country, taking their Instagram photos, posting it, going to a farmer's market and getting local food. They love it. So why are we not taking advantage of that? Agritourism. There's so many different things that we can do in the town. I think that's where our focus needs to be. It's what our resources are here, right? We have great soil. I hear that at the Environmental Commission, how perfect our soil is. Let's not worry about bringing things in to ruin the soil. Let's focus on giving opportunity to the farmers, the crafters, whatever farms for, I don't know if you can do horseback rides, pony rides, all of that stuff could be a really big hit. We just have to advertise it and get it out there, and give our local businesses an opportunity. I saw a message here, Bruce, just to explain what the edit group is for those that may not know.
You want me to explain or?
Yes, it's your group. I don't want to take that thunder away from you.
Okay, yeah, EDIT is short for Economic Development Implementation Team, of which Sharyn and several of the people on tonight's Zoom are part of. What we're trying to do is network our residents, our property owners into, different and unique, areas of revenue. One of them which being, the possibility of having a adult living facility in Franklin Township. And also we touched on a farmer's market because we have many people, very, very talented people in Franklin Township that go elsewhere to, display and sell their crafts. And there's really no means of doing it here in Franklin Township. Also, we're going to encourage some clean rateable businesses, and we're trying to locate properties, for those businesses, within Franklin Township. So we really need to market this, and our group currently is brainstorming, in the brainstorming mode, I should say. I hope that explains EDIT.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. So there's another note about farmers market should be at the new municipal building. Great idea. I just, again, not quite sure we're going to be there anytime soon. So I would say we have to look for some other options in the meantime. There's a note about the Franklin Township really not super present on the Hunterdon County tourism site. I think this is this is a really big avenue for us. We really need to be involved further. We have so much to offer, and
I'm wondering, do we not have anything that would fit in? But then I looked at it and I was like, no, we have horseback riding. We have
absolutely
well,
do.
How come we don't show up at all? How did that happen?
I think it stems from the committee. I think that there was somebody in the committee supposedly involved in this. But again, how much effort is being put in? I'm not really sure. So I think we can be more involved. I just think there has to be the want to do that. And I'm not feeling that very much with the group that we have right now. Just reading another message that came into me. Lived in Clearwater, Florida. The city had several locations where volunteers, residents taught free classes to the community, such as art classes, cooking, music, jams, sing-alongs, massage, flower arranging, gardening, etc. Many people have talents or knowledge that they would love to share with others. This is a great way to learn from each other. I love that idea. May also be a great way for retirees to be involved and valued. Love to see something like that in the community. I agree. I think, as I mentioned, when I joined the EDIT group and heard the presenters at that school, the town committee at the school, that meeting, I was blown away by the knowledge, the backgrounds, what jobs people had that I never even knew was a job. I was blown away by the talent in the room, and the ideas that just keep coming, and everybody has such unique perspective that they bring to the table and experiences. Not everybody's lived in this town their entire life, but those that haven't have come here pretty much for the same reason. I don't think you come to live in a rural environment like this if this is not something that's your speed. So there's so much that we can all learn and share with each other. I absolutely love those ideas, and I'm keeping a copy of the chat. So we'll add that to the EDIT group idea list. We have about 5 minutes left, not that we can't run over. Since it's my Zoom link, we can go over, but any other
I actually
questions?
have a question. Can you tell us what, if any, the risks may be in regards to the cannabis ordinance coming back, or any kind of cannabis or like industrial development being like, are we out of the clear? Aren't we? Maybe you can explain more about that.
I would say that we're not. And I would say that, yes, the ordinance was canceled, but it's just that one ordinance. It doesn't mean that it's going to prevent other ordinances from coming through. The master plan language was not pulled back. There were changes made to that to include cannabis. So if we don't get that fixed, we're absolutely leaving ourselves open. And there definitely are people that pop up from time to time at the meetings that are still talking about cannabis. I'm not sure, not privy to the information of what applications come into the town committee at this point, but based on some of the attendance that we've seen at different meetings, I don't trust that there's not some conversations going on. I don't think we're out of the woods. I think that we need to have a committee that we feel comfortable in, that also believe strongly that this is not the right thing for our town, to feel comfortable that they're not going to vote something in without us being included. And I think what's most concerning for me is we all spoke up, or many of us spoke up, and they still wanted to push it through. So that, I think, is the bigger concern. And that for me is, we have to change the people on the committee. It has to be people that are like-minded to the residents, that want the same thing. And if we don't do that, then I am a little bit worried about what may get pushed through. There's definitely a handful of us that have been super diligent about being at every meeting that we can be and keeping the conversation going. And I think that's super important. We're not going away. I think there's maybe a hope that we'll just go away, but that's not going to happen. But we need to keep that up. And if the second that we snooze, I would not be surprised if something else gets put through or attempted to be put through. Yeah, there's a comment about it's not a good sign that they refuse to amend the master plan, and I fully agree with that. If you're truly behind the no cannabis, you tabled the ordinance, then why not revert the master plan language back? Why would you keep it in? To me, it's there. And again, it's what leads me to believe that maybe it was done that way on purpose as a loophole. But we have got to work at getting that reverted, or we're leaving ourselves open.
Okay, everyone, this is your last chance to ask a question of the candidate. Don't be shy. Sharyn, how can they reach you if they are shy and they want to ask a question, maybe more privately, in a more private setting?
Great question. I will put my email in the chat. Email is Sharyn, FTHCTC for Franklin Township, Hunterdon County Town Committee at yahoo.com.
And Sharon, sorry, I didn't raise my hand, but it seemed like
That's
it was
okay.
quiet. I know we also have the newsletter that goes out to anybody who has signed up. Maybe you want to send, or can they also email you to sign up for that, so that when, we can update, or people can get updates on when you're attending, different events and where you're going to be and things like that. Can they email you, or do you want to post something separate for anyone that wants to receive that newsletter?
I guess I want to ask Christina, Allison, and Elizabeth maybe do we want to give the concerned residents email group, because that's better monitored by a bunch of people, and that's where the communications are going out from? Is that a better option?
Sure, I'm happy to put, so this is just a little bit of background. So as issues have popped up, we sort of formed a grassroots organization, and now we're sort of legitimate. Now it's called Concerned Residents. We're the ones with the red barn that were that created a website, and we now have a distribution list of over, I think, 500 families, which is a large group, and we have some very diligent citizens that volunteer tremendous amounts of time. Elizabeth Basile and Allison Bankin and Anna Marie Doritas, who are very literary and attend all meetings and write really beautiful synopses, and also Mr. Conley write beautiful synopses. And so there's a lot of really great information in some of the email blasts that you get. And if at any time it becomes too much, and you could just put it into a folder, or you can ask to be removed from the list, but I'll put that email in there, and all you have to do is say, hi, I'd like to be added to your mailing list. I'll put the email in the chat.
Great, thank you for that. And there are two groups that we're posting a lot of these announcements, places that I'm going to either be, or if we decide to do more Zooms. This was an amazing turnout. I'm pretty happy about that. So we can set up additional Zoom calls. We're going to post this out. So you can either email the group, the Concerned Residents group that Christina's going to post. You can also, if you're on Facebook, get involved and request to be in the Concerned Residents group or the Franklin Township group for Facebook, because we're posting a lot of information there as well. Another question came in, would love to see some kind of way to organize our township, perhaps by streets, to check on neighbors and or a way to disseminate information or get help in case of extreme emergency. Oh, I like that. That's a really good idea. That's a good idea. I like it. You have some good ideas, SJ. We'll add that into our list of ideas here for the group.
I was going to say, Elizabeth and Frank had the idea of crowdsourcing the ash borer tree, problem. It's not dissimilar. Great idea.
Yeah. Yep. Very good.
Concerned, then we've got some really smart people. That's great.
So my only ask is, if you like me, believe in me, and think that I would make a good candidate for the town committee, please share what you learned with your friends. And remember to vote for Sharyn on November 8th. And someone else, if you choose.
I see Frank has a question.
Uh-oh.
Oh, thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs up. Yeah, not a question.
Okay, I'm just seeing a lot of applause for you, Sharyn. I think we are.
Oh, thank you.
That wasn't a question. It's my wife fiddling with the reaction
I
icons.
did clapping.
She's
and then
playing
I-
with the button.
That's great. That's all around. Okay.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you everybody for attending and taking time out of your busy lives to hear me go on and on for the last hour. But it was great. Lots of amazing ideas. So we're going to keep the recording. We'll push the recording out. We'll keep a copy of the chat and put them on our list. Thanks so much.